Hey there, it's Lacy J from Space Bear Media, the makers of Lost in My 40s. Did you know that you can go to spacebearmedia.com right now to access all our content, including our weekly video pre-shows where your hosts ponder ethical questions related to the week's episode and answer some fun questions just for, well, fun. Speaking of fun, if you have it thanks to our content, please consider rating or reviewing Lost in My 40s on your favorite app, or recommend us to a friend who loves Lost. Hello, welcome back. It's Lost in My 40s. We are here today in Season 2 on Episode 7. It's called The Other 48 Days. It's a Backenders episode. Derek is going to give us the back end.
How appropriate.
But first, I should say, this is a special episode because it is actually the first episode without any flashbacks because the entire fucking thing is a flashback. Ben, before we jump into the back end, would you like to update us on
Here, let me put on my raincoat first.
Where are our power rankings?
Yes. As of last week, we've got the great Mr. Echo in first place by a pretty good margin now.
I bet he even pulls away with it after today.
Oh, yeah, you know it.
Yeah, all right.
Kate still in second place, and Hurley and Helen still tied for third.
I can't believe Helen's still hanging in there. That's how good characters
I know. Seriously.
Just as a reminder, I hate Ana Lucia.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, I got that.
You do?
All right, and who's in the bottom, Ben?
Who's at the bottom? Well, Randy Douchebag Nations still, and Mr. Cooper are tied for the first worst.
So Randy Douchebag Nations is hanging with Mr. Cooper?
Yeah, exactly.
No. There's another we come from the 90s reference.
Seriously.
Yep.
And then we've got Susan in second place, and in third we have a tie between Sabrina Carlisle and Mr. Kim.
Wow. So many baddies so far this season.
I know Christy wants to get Ana Lucia down there.
I want to get Ana Lucia down there.
I was like, somebody, come on. All right, Derek, why don't you take us through the other 48 days?
Okay, so the episode opens with a quiet scene on the beach, and then you hear some whirring noise, and it gets louder as pieces of metal and debris start hitting the water and the beach.
Doesn't this thing start off? It feels like one of those Corona commercials.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
It's all
somebody start whistling. Like,
yeah. And then there's like a guy in a beach chair with a Corona. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, exactly.
That's too funny.
And then he runs. He's like, "Oh shit!" He goes, "This just all of a sudden, it's more like a Milwaukee's Best commercial."
Yeah.
Alrighty.
So then you see the tail section back end of Flight 815 crashing into the water. And more debris falls, and then the seat from the plane flies into the screen, and it goes dark, and you see Day 1 appear on the screen. And the camera starts underwater, and it's very chaotic. And when it finally surfaces, you see Ana Lucia and the other survivors flailing in the ocean. And there's also dead bodies floating in the water. And the survivors are making their way to the beach that is covered with debris. Some of the debris is on fire.
I feel like the cinematographer or whoever did this, I don't know exactly who manages all of the camera and the shots and all that type of stuff. I feel like they looked at Saving Private Ryan and they're like, do whatever they did there.
That's what it looked like with Saving Private Ryan.
The same kind of frame rates, the same jerky chaos. Yeah,
on the beach. Yeah.
Which they said that was very accurate.
Yeah. Yeah.
You mean like the men who were actually at D-Day?
The Normandy scene, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I heard that too when they saw that it was...
That's
had
insane.
To be triggering.
Why not storm the beach at Normandy?
You know how a Frenchman's been in your backyard?
Oh, no.
Your trash cans are empty and your dog is pregnant.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Coming at the French this morning.
She was talking about Stand By Me. She was quoting Teddy Duchamp from Stand By Me. I was quoting Teddy Duchamp from Stand By Me.
Okay, I was like, my God, man.
just my normal like disemboweling the French out of nowhere.
Yeah, we just lost all of our French viewers. Jesus,
all one of them. Yeah, I love the French personally.
I love the French. Just for the record,
we.
I was like, we love the French. No, that's not what you meant. Okay, shall we? Derek, what happens to the Backenders on day one?
So back on the beach, Ana Lucia and Libby.
They really get into the shit.
Ana Lucia and Libby make it to the beach after helping some other survivors, and you see Mr. Echo carrying a young boy and his teddy bear to the shore.
Yeah, do you recognize that teddy bear?
I did.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the boy is crying out for his sister. So Mr. Echo does find a sister floating face down in the water, and she is unconscious. He carries her to the shore, and Ana Lucia comes over to assist him in reviving her. She begins CPR on the girl.
I will give her this. She's better at CPR than Boone.
Is that a compliment?
Ana Lucia,
you're complimenting her? Wow.
You're better than Boone.
Well,
she's not looking for pens.
When she was about to say when she was swimming to shore, she found a package of pens. So she wasn't distracted.
Oh boy!
So she begins better CPR than Boone on the girl, while Mr. Echo tells the boy to come with him so he doesn't have to watch. And the boy leaves a teddy bear with the girl. The CPR is successful, and the girl is saved.
Yeah.
She says it's funny because she wakes up, the first thing she's like, "Where's my mom?"
Yep.
And I was like, "You mean thank you?"
Yeah. Well, and mom's not even on the plane, right? You find out they're flying alone.
Yeah, she's like, she was supposed to meet us in L.A. And okay, well, then your mom's probably in fucking L.A.
I know.
On an island.
Yeah, I bet that's where your mom is.
You dumb kid.
Fucking kids.
God. It's like, what happened? Did you just go through some type of trauma? What's going on?
Fuck. Should have let you drown. God.
You do not do this well, child.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's funny when you watch the back end of the plane crash into the ocean, it just happens to land just right to where it's like, because it was tumbling if you watch it. It's like it's
right.
But I was thinking also, it was like the speed.
In.
Yeah, the speed that it hits, though, I'm just like, okay, there's nobody on there that just survived that. That rapid deceleration really killed everybody.
Yeah.
But
they
these people
survived
are magical.
because the island wanted them to survive.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the girl tells Ana Lucia that her mother is meeting them in Los Angeles, but she says they aren't there yet, or Anna says they're not there yet, but promises the girl she will get her there soon. And then Anna looks towards the mountains, and the camera pans back to reveal chaos on the beach and the back end of the plane sinking into the ocean. And you get the title screen. So then Mr. Echo asks a nice woman to watch the two kids because he has to go do something, which is fishing the bodies out of the water.
That's Cindy, isn't it? That's who he asked.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cindy, the flight attendant.
She's not identified yet.
Now, I want you over the next 5 minutes of this episode to look at Mr. Echo's shirt. It's fucking gleaming white.
Yeah.
He just came out of the ocean, which I would expect there'd be a little, sand, maybe blood from all the dead people. But yeah, man, it is just gleaming white. I think we should start calling him Mr. Clean instead of Mr. Echo.
It won't stay gleaming white for long, though.
No,
it does amazingly, though. And I'll point out when it doesn't, but he goes through a lot before that shirt shows any marks of it.
So then we cut to a guy in pain from a compound fracture in his leg, and Libby tells him a story of how she broke her leg while skiing to distract him so she can snap the bone back into place.
Ooh. That was badass.
Yeah.
Gives me the shivers just thinking about it.
She gets some points there.
She does. And this causes him to scream in pain and pass out. And then another man comes running out of the jungle screaming that someone is alive in the jungle, and we see that it's Bernard still trapped in his seat next to a dead body really high up in a tree. And Anna coaxes him to unbuckle his seatbelt and grab the branch near him, and after some discussion, he finally does, just as the seat comes crashing down.
He plays this guy plays fear really well. Like a lot of times I'll see people try to act scared. This guy, I believe he's scared when he's
Bernard?
there.
Maybe they had him really up in the tree like that and said, you know what, if you fall, you die. He's scared.
Method acting.
Yeah.
It's like Squid Game for actors.
Oh, man.
I have not started watching that.
Oh, it's really good.
Great.
It's really, really good. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the second season.
So she climbs up the tree to get him, and then we cut to the beach, and Libby is asking for water while Goodwin, he gets identified later, but Goodwin builds a fire using a stick.
Did somebody just Shannon Goodwin?
Yes. We needed somebody new.
Yeah, Shannon's dead. So.
I chose Goodwin. You guys can choose whoever you
Anna
want.
Lucia.
Yeah. You really hate her. Anna Lucia asks if he's a Boy Scout, but he tells her that he's in the Peace Corps, and he's impressed that she actually knows what the Peace Corps is, because, it's been a long time since I heard that. Peace Corps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought about joining the Peace Corps a few times.
I did too.
We talked about doing it together, and then we decided to try to have a kid instead.
Yeah.
Anywho.
So
neither of those things came to fruition.
Yeah. It was like, let's join the Peace Corps, and I end up getting a job at Amazon. It was like, could it be more fucking opposite?
That's right. Yeah. When we were talking about doing that, I don't have my bachelor's. I have a few associate degrees, but I would have to finish a bachelor's degree to be able to join the Peace Corps. And we were talking about it. I was going to finish my degree. We were going to join the Peace Corps and run away. And then he got a job at Amazon, and it was like, oh, all right, well, let's try to have a kid instead. And
and then you started your blog.
And then that didn't work out either.
That brings us to today.
And here we are podcasting. Oh, okay. So, anywho.
I love that journey for you.
From the Peace Corps to podcasting.
Cool story, Hansel.
Yeah, thanks. All right.
So they get a good fire going, but there's no torches like the originals, just sitting around the fire. And Bernard walks over to Mr. Echo and asks if he found an African-American's woman body in the water. And he says no, but he will pray for her and the rescue planes that Bernard asks for.
Let me call another thing. I'm going to be interjecting a lot these first 20 minutes. First, look at his shirt again. He's been fishing people out of the water. Still gleaming white.
Oh my God. You're obsessed
also,
with the shirt.
Unless he's actually going through their fucking wallets, how can he tell if a dead person is African-American?
I mean,
okay, right? Because they could just be African or any other country where someone, right. But yes. Bernard is conditioned to say African American because he's from the United States and his wife is. But you're right.
I understand that, but I am calling out how ludicrous it is. A question if you really think about it.
Yes, that's silly on an international flight. Like, how would you know that? Yeah, you're right.
So the survivors are sleeping on the beach, and they're woken up by sounds of a fight. And Goodwin and Anna Lucia investigate, and they find Mr. Echo standing over two bodies, holding a rock. And his white shirt and him are covered in blood, and he's out of breath.
Yeah, it's no longer white, Ben.
No, it's covered with blood and sand.
Yeah, he has to actually murder people before the traces show, which I think is probably. I almost feel like that was intentional. Like he was gleaming white. He was radiant with God's energy right up until then, where he massacred two people with a rock.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it was self-defense.
Yeah, definitely. The others were trying to kidnap him.
Yeah.
Yeah. They chose fucking poorly.
Yeah.
Well, they don't make the list, but we'll get that in another season.
Right.
Yeah.
No, you don't know what I'm talking about, Derek, but that's okay.
No, I don't. I know of a list, but
you know about the list, right?
Yeah.
All right.
So that's the end of day 1.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you here before we move on because I did something a little special for this episode. And I went back through all of the episodes we've already done and took a few notes on what the originals were doing during the time periods that the other 48 days covers. So on some of the days, I've got a few notes. Some I've just got like a line or two. But day 1 for the originals, the entire
Boone
day
found
takes place. Boone found a pen. I didn't actually write that down, but you're right. So, no, the entire day 1 is only in the pilot part 1. It's, again, all of the same chaos. We remember, the crash as we meet the originals. Jack has Hurley help with Claire. He tells Kate about his first surgery. She counts to 5. Shannon is obnoxious and convinced of rescue. Jin tells Sun to stay away from everyone. They discuss the possibility of a transceiver in the cockpit. And then at nightfall, they hear the noise of the monster at the same time that the Backenders are being kidnapped.
Is that Vincent?
Yeah. Stupid kid. Another. Oh, why are the kids dumb on this show? All right. So, So then, Derek, why don't you continue with day 2?
All right. So day 2, and Mr. Echo is standing on the beach, still bloody, and his shirt is dirty. Ana Lucia searches the bodies and finds no identifying information on them. And another survivor comes up and says that 3 people are missing. Mr. Echo starts making a weapon out of a tree while Ana Lucia observes that the dead people don't have any shoes and that they must have been there before they crashed. And then she says they need to get off the beach, but Nathan protests, saying that they have kids there and injured people, and they should stay on the beach with the fire to signal for help. Then Cindy, the flight attendant, tells them the pilot told her they've been flying for 2 hours in the wrong direction, but they won't know where to look.
They have the whole caves versus beach argument on day 2 versus
with
the
or not necessarily caves like they hadn't, but the
to get off
thought
the beach,
to journey, right?
Yeah.
And isn't that convenient that Cindy survived to tell them they were off course? Like it's super convenient that in each camp somebody was able to tell them you guys are fucked. We weren't where we were supposed to be.
Yeah, 1,000 miles.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the end of day 2.
There was one thing that I thought was funny. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. Okay,
there was one thing that was funny. That when Libby tells Anna that the infection is like spreading in the leg, and then Anna asks, like, what are we supposed to do about that? I just thought in my head right there, I heard Vizzini say, hit him with the rock. Because they're killing so many people with rocks in this episode. It felt like
they do.
Maybe he just needed to go too.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring up the same line because I thought I didn't hear the Princess Bride in my head, but I thought the line was really great just because it sort of encapsulates the situation. She's like, "What are we supposed to do? Yeah, what are they supposed to do? Like, whoop, all the drugs landed with the front end of the plane, so
thoughts and prayers."
Yeah. Right. Bleach.
Bleach
they got
the
Mr.
bomb
Clean
kills
there.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So day 2 for the original stretches actually over 3 episodes. The last bit of pilot part 1, all of pilot part 2, and the beginning of Tabula Rasa. It includes the trip to the cockpit, the Eton pilot, the Saeed and Sawyer brawl on the beach, the Lockwalt backgammon lesson, the journey to use the transceiver with the French message, Jack's care for the marshal, and the discovery of Kate's criminal status. All of that happens in day 2.
That was an eventful day.
Yeah, it was. So day 3.
Right, so then it switches to... No, it's day 5 is the next day. They jumped
Day 3, actually.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, I missed that for some reason.
Yeah, you missed the day 3, but...
Derp, all right.
It's quick. It's quick day 3. The survivors are foraging for food on the beach, and Libby tells Anna that Donald, the guy with the broken leg, his infection is getting worse, and Ana Lucia asks, what are we supposed to do about that?
Oh, that's what we were talking
3.
about. I see.
Okay.
I put it in the timeline, but I put it as day 3. Well, so day 3 would extend through Tabula Rasa, so it would be the end of that. Yeah, somehow I missed that. I must have been really high when I made the timeline.
That happens.
Yeah, so then day 5. Sorry.
Yeah, then we go to day 5, and Donald is dead, and the survivors bury him next to the bodies that were pulled from the ocean, and you see Mr. Echo staring out to the ocean holding his tree weapon.
Yeah, and at this point, and he's his true weapon. He's stopped speaking too after he killed those
spoken
people.
Since he killed the people.
So day 5 is most of episode 4, Walkabout. Saeed's working to make the antenna to triangulate the distress signal. They run out of food. Locke first suggests hunting for boar. Charlie and Hurley try and fail at fishing.
That was so much fun.
Yeah, Locke looks into the face of the monster. Charlie finally catches a fish and gives it to that stupid bitch, Shannon. And Jack sees Christian wandering around the island. And then at sundown, Claire reads off the names of the dead.
Claire.
All right, day 7, and the Backenders are trying to catch a chicken, and Goodwin finally catches it and breaks its neck. Then we cut
foreshadowing.
Yeah, seriously.
Then we cut to the chicken is getting cooked over the fire, and Libby offers some to Mr. Echo and tells him he hasn't said a word in a week, and she also says it wasn't his fault, and he was just
it's not your fault.
That he was just defending himself.
It's not your fault.
I wrote,
fault,
Libby
Mr.
comes
Echo.
over to Echo with, it's not your fault, energy.
Energy.
And
I wrote
he was
the
just
same thing. It's
defending
not your fault
himself.
3 times.
And he's sitting there cutting notches into his tree weapon.
Are the notches days?
I thought they were his victims.
He only had 2.
There was a lot of notches on there.
Yeah.
Well, so let's put a pin in that because the notches will be explained in depth when we get to his episode. But at this point, that was what was in my head, where I was like, I think that he's notching off how many others he's killed.
Yeah.
Okay, so day 7 for the originals, they found the caves at this point, and they're transporting water back and forth. Jin attacks Michael over the watch like a fucking lunatic. There's the beehive incident. Jack makes a case for moving to the cave. Charlie tells anyone who'll listen that he's in fucking drive shaft.
You all
More like suck shaft.
Sun speaks to Michael in English, so that's the first time we find that out. Locke takes Charlie's heroin, and a faction moves to the caves at the end of the episode. Or at the end of the day, sorry. So that's day 7.
Okay, so we're on day 12, and Anna is making some kind of weapon that looks like a hockey stick, so she can get them some bacon from the pigs that she heard in the jungle.
Oh, yeah. Because as we
That's
know,
not gonna work.
all pigs have a weakness for boomerangs tied to sticks.
Like, what are you going to do? Just like beat it to death?
What are you going to do? Make it, like, kill it by making it laugh at your stupid weapon?
Yeah.
Does that work?
Yeah.
And Nathan comes out of the jungle, and they ask where he was, and he says he was using the bathroom. But Anna tells him that they have a system where they go in pairs, which is kind of strange. Go to the bathroom in pairs.
I mean, I guess
Watch
for
me.
safety reasons.
You have to watch
get it.
me.
I get it, but I don't want to take a shit with anybody.
Yeah. No,
You know,
I
I've
don't
been
either.
married to my husband for almost 20 years, and I think that I can count on one hand the amount of times we have had to be in the same bathroom while, like, one person was in the shower and one person was taking a shit.
I'm a very private shitter, so
Yeah.
No, you don't need to
I
be
get
in the
stage
bathroom.
fright.
Well,
We got a real good setup now. We've got a squatty potty and a bidet.
Nice.
A bidet,
fancy.
Yeah.
French of
I've been
you.
thinking about the squatty
Oui.
potties. I've been dancing around that purchase for a couple of years now, I feel like.
I enjoy
Does
it.
it really work better?
Yes. I very
All right.
much enjoy my squatty potty.
oh, Christy has nice poops, everybody.
Yeah.
Hashtag sponsor us, squatty potty. And Tushy is the bidet.
All right.
It's actually called Tushy.
It's called Tushy.
Okay. All right.
It just attaches to your existing toilet.
I think that's the one that, like, we got some friends that I think have one of those.
We have some friends with one of those. Yeah, their seat warms up too. It always scares me.
They clean you a lot better than paper.
Yeah. We don't have the seat warmer, but when you
so you got a poor person's bidet then.
Oh my God.
I mean, but I will tell you, first thing in the morning when you have that first poop of the morning, it wakes you up, man, when that cold water hits.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Also, the water isn't warmed either. Ooh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Are we really having this much conversation?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Well, we're talking about back ends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
All right, so the Backenders are sleeping by the fire when you see several people with bare feet and tattered clothes sneak up, and they end up kidnapping the children and several others. They knock out the adults to carry them off, and Anna wakes up and chases after them. And one of the kidnappers turns and starts, attacking her, and they fight until Anna hits them with a rock, which eventually actually ends up killing them. And they don't know which way the kidnappers went, and Anna tries to wake up the dead kidnapper, but doesn't work.
Dead.
Yeah. And she searches the body, finding a knife and a piece of paper with a list on it. And Libby asks, "What is the list of?" And Anna replies, "It's a list of 9, a list of us." And Mr. Echo comes back.
Yeah, she says specifically, like, it's got their names and then also descriptors of like what they look like.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that we said that.
She says that later, actually.
Oh, shit. Fuck, guys. Sorry. All over the place.
So Mr. Echo comes back from searching for the missing 9, and Anna yells at him for not talking, and Nathan tells her to calm down. And Anna shows him the list of the 9 that they took, what they were wearing, and what they looked like. And Anna accuses Nathan of feeding them information while he was in the bathroom for 2 hours. That is a long shit.
I believe he has IBS.
It must be.
Well, because he says he was in the bathroom on the plane for 2 hours.
For 2 hours,
Right.
yeah. This dude needs to either cut down his red meat intake or like start taking some fiber and stool softeners. Or
he just needs to go on that fruitarian diet. Remember?
Seriously, I mean, what the hell is he
Hurley was
eating? A couple
pooping.
bites of chicken? That's not going to get you bound up.
So then Goodwin calms them down, and they decide to let the signal fire go out and leave the beach.
Alrighty, so day 12 for the originals. Saeed is off on his own journey. He discovers the cable, follows it into the jungle, gets stuck in Danielle's trap, meets her, gets electrocuted by her. Jack and Sawyer are being super competitive over Kate. The fucking hypochondriac is around on day 12.
Yeah.
Walt wants Locke to teach him how to hunt, and Hurley finds the golf clubs. That's all day 12.
All right, now we go to day 15, and the Backenders are hiking through the jungle, and they come up to a stream, and Anna tells them that they can take a break for 5 minutes after walking for 3 days straight.
She's quite the taskmaster.
Yeah, she is.
It's like 3 days and nights pursuit, no food, no rest.
Bernard protests, but Anna says, "You are still here, aren't you?" And Nathan says they can go on without him because he is making camp there since it has everything they need. And Anna agrees after all of the Backenders are looking at her.
Yeah. It's like they sort of overruled her, I guess, in a way. It became a democracy when they had all just been kind of following her for 3 days.
Yep.
So, yeah, day 15 for the originals, Claire is having nightmares, and Jack doesn't believe her that somebody's trying to harm her, and Hurley starts the census.
So that's one of the first episodes where we hear Claire scream, "My baby."
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
He's trying to hurt my baby.
They're trying to hurt my baby.
So the mayor of Island Town starts his census.
Right, exactly.
Day 17, Anna is digging what will become the pit of despair when Libby comes up asking her about Nathan being missing for 2 hours and that he creeps her out. She wants to know if Anna thinks that one of us could be one of them, and Anna replies, "Why do you think I'm digging this hole?"
I thought she was digging latrines.
Yeah, right. Where are they sitting in pairs?
Yeah, that way they know where Nathan was for 2 hours at a time when he was dealing with his IBS.
Day 17 for the originals is just one big old event. Ethan kidnaps Claire.
Oh, yeah.
So day 19, Nathan and Bernard are making some kind of trap to catch rabbits when Anna just walks up and gives Nathan a swift kick in the chin, knocking him out. She carries him to the pit of despair and throws him in, telling him they're going to have a talk.
I've got to interject something huge here.
Oh, boy.
She started digging this pit on day 17 with a piece of bamboo. 2 days later, it looks like she had a fucking backhoe. This thing is
we know
really deep. Yeah.
There is no way.
She had the same backhoe that dug the hatch out.
Yeah, no, this one was even more so. This is a ridiculous amount
for a couple of weeks at least.
Yeah, you get every one of those people from that party working with pieces of bamboo like that, maybe, but there's no way.
Yeah, of course not.
So Anna goes back to the others and tells the other survivors and tells them she never saw him on the flight, and Cindy, the flight attendant, says she never saw him either. Libby says Nathan never talks about his past and that Anna says she is going to find out. Then Anna asks Mr. Echo if he has a problem with this, and he just looks at her, still not talking.
One thing that Cindy says here, she says, "I'm good with faces." What does that mean?
Yeah.
That she would remember him, I guess. She's good, but she's good with recognizing people, I think is what she means.
It's going to be a real asset on the island. Maybe if you're good with like fabrication of like, I don't know, shoes or something. That might be a little more useful. Yeah. She's like,
so far,
I'm good with faces. Oh, that does you. She meets Boone, and they can be good with faces and running businesses.
Well, and the others clearly don't have any cobblers either, because they're always barefoot.
Yeah, exactly. This island is in desperate need
of a cobbler.
Of a shoe store.
Yes. And a haberdashery.
Oh, God.
So it's nighttime, and Anna opens the pit, and she's carrying a torch, but it's not as good as the original's torch. Just a basic torch.
They haven't gotten their production line up and running yet.
Right. And asks Nathan, where are the kids, and where is he from? And he says, Canada, And he was on a company retreat. She asked him, where's the rest of the people that he worked with? And he says, well, he stayed a few days to sightsee. Then he says he was in the bathroom, and Anna's on the plane. Why she didn't see him on the plane? And he says, for 2 hours.
Once again.
And says he was never on the plane.
He takes really long poops.
Apparently. My God.
You work at crosswords. Read the paper.
So while that was going on, the originals were finding the guns on day 19.
Cool.
All right, we're on day 23, and Nathan is still in the pit of despair, and Anna is still asking him, where are the kids? Nathan doesn't answer, and Anna sees something behind him and throws a rock at him. There we go with the rocks again, to get him to move, and he finds some food that he was hiding. She questions the other Backenders to find out who gave Nathan food. Bernard doesn't think that Nathan is a spy, but Anna says he was the one that said to stay on the beach so they could be picked off. That's what she thinks that he did for.
It's pretty good casting, though. The guy Nathan, like, he does have kind of shifty eyes, so they do really make you believe that he's.
Yeah, I thought he was.
He's possibly one of the others.
He's Canadian,
right? Because we're all suspicious because we. Because
French,
first
Canadian.
the French, now the Canadian. Oh, my God.
2 hour shits.
We all already know about Ethan, so we're immediately suspicious. And they, of course, are,
Then she accuses Mr. Echo, and he basically admits it without saying a word, that he's the one who fed Nathan.
Right.
Anna's at the stream drinking water, and Goodwin shows up telling her that he is worried about her having Nathan in the pit for 4 days. And she tells him that he promised the little girl that she would get her home. Goodwin asks if she has any kids, and she says no. He says that he says she should let Nathan go because they are not savages. Anna replies that if she was a savage, she would have cut off his finger, and says that she'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah, that's really, really fucked up.
Yeah. The fact.
We thought Saeed was bad by sticking fucking bamboo up under Sawyer's fingernails. She's gonna take his fucking finger.
Yeah. So it's nighttime.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Almost done with 23. Nighttime.
My bad.
In the pit of despair, and Goodwin opens the door to it and lowers a rope so Nathan can escape. He
says, "Hey, you want to play a game of chicken?"
Food. Yeah. He hands Nathan a bag of food and tells him to go. And as Nathan walks past, Goodwin snaps his neck.
Yes, he does.
Yep.
While that is going on, in the original camp, Boone is warning Saeed not to date Shannon. We all find out about sister fucking on day 23. The viewer, at least. Locke is desperately trying to get into the hatch, and he drugs Boone.
It's funny because when you first said, Boone warned Saeed not to date Shannon, I'm thinking, what's he going to do? Take her to a fucking Applebee's? But he does actually set up dates for her. He sets up these elaborate, torches and picnics, and he's so sweet. I love Saeed. That's all.
Christy loves Saeed.
I hate Ana Lucia.
It's funny because once again, the side of Saeed you like so much as the side I'm just like, oh, now he's becoming very useless.
That's right. The more Christy loves him, the more Ben hates him.
It's like, you build radios, dude. Tinker with electronics. Do something.
Hey, Ben.
Yeah, babe?
Got any special occasions coming up that you need a card for?
Is this a trick question?
No, it's an advertisement.
Is this about barbcards.com again?
Bingo.
So I suppose you're going to remind me that each handmade card is only $1.50.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't come with busy backgrounds or flowery poetry?
You got it. Barbcards.com offers to-the-point communication within several different categories, including our favorite, potty mouth. And if you can't find what you want, barbcards.com can do customizations.
Can I still get all of my cards for no more than $4 shipping, no matter the size of the order?
You know it. Barbcards.com has got all you need. Hey, Ben.
Oh, my God. What are we selling now?
Merch.
Our merch?
Yes, sir. Shirts, coffee mugs, wine tumblers, bottle openers, stickers, magnets, and more. Your choice of product and your choice of Space Bear Media graphic from any of our podcasts.
Please tell me we're not making merch now, too.
Of course not. We'll stick to podcasts, and Pixis products will do the rest.
Thank God. I bet you have more to say, though.
Sure do. Pixis Products is a small business run by a local mom, well, local to us anyway, who needed something else to do besides being a snack bitch.
A what?
A snack bitch, also known as a mom with a young child.
There's still more, isn't there?
Yepers! Pixis Products works with other small businesses for supplies, art, and other collaborations at every opportunity, including ours. In fact, Pixis Products even gave Space Bear Media our own storefront on their site. You can find us at shopspacebear.com.
Say what?
You heard me. Go to shopspacebear.com and buy something.
So we're on day 24. Anna wakes up and Goodwin says good morning when he's really creepily close to her.
Oh, yeah.
Like right in her face when she wakes up.
And Cindy comes running up saying that Nathan is gone. Anna says, so the others must have found them and it's time to move.
I think maybe Ana Lucia, she should have spent 2 more days digging and then she could just thrown him into the Earth's core.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
2 more days.
Yeah.
That scene where she wakes up and he's like right in her face reminds me of the scene where Hurley is like
Hi.
in the caves. Yeah. And Jack wakes up and he's like, hi.
Yeah.
So, yeah, day 24, Kate finds out Son speaks English. Boone goes on his psychedelic trip. And Saeed notices that his compass does not work on the island. And Boone admits that he was relieved when Shannon died.
In his little crazy fever dream.
Yep. Day 26, the Backenders are walking through the jungle again and end up on the beach.
Yeah,
that's
the whole thing. It just shows. I know.
Yes, they walk 3 days in, but 1 day out.
Yeah,
or 2 days out. Yeah.
I guess so. Well, yeah, but if they're walking not in straight lines, then it could take longer one way than the other, I guess.
Well, and now they know the way.
Yeah, they all do really learn their way through the jungle fairly fucking quickly. I would be lost forever. Anyway, so day 26, Michael wants to kill Locke for befriending Walt. Saeed is trying to decode Danielle's map, and the idea for the raft is born.
Day 27, the Backenders find a door in the jungle, and Mr. Echo just walks up to it and opens it. And the door says quarantine. Sounds familiar.
Yeah, on the inside.
On the inside. When he pries it open, and they light their way with not so good torches.
Yeah, they're not as good at torches as the other group is.
No.
On the wall is the Dharma logo, and Anna restores power, and they find a Bible, a glass eye, and a radio in a chest.
I like it because Goodwin says it must be some type of storage facility. And I was like, don't storage facilities normally have things in them other than a glass eye and a radio and a book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't what like a storage facility is, where you
for storing things.
Storing things. So
right.
Yeah, but all these places look pretty well abandoned, right? This place looks pretty well abandoned, I guess. Yeah.
So what signifies it as a storage facility? Does it have
nothing? I think Goodwin was trying to pretend like he didn't know what it was, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think he's trying to impress Ana Lucia with his knowledge of rooms.
Yeah.
It's like, I know about Cindy knows spaces. I know rooms.
Oh my God.
So Mr. Echo takes the Bible, and Bernard takes the radio outside and tries to call out for help. Goodwin says the hills are blocking the signal, and he will take the radio to higher ground alone, but Anna insists on going with him. As they're hiking up the hill, Anna asks Goodwin why the others are attacking them, and he says, well, they aren't really attacking them, but the first night they took the strongest ones that were the greatest threat. So I noticed here Echo, but he fought back.
I don't know how I didn't notice this earlier in the show, but you notice like Goodwin's clothes are the exact same colors as the rest of the others.
Yeah.
They're like, it's like a different type of clothing because it looks a little more like, but it's the exact same colors.
It's the same color scheme.
That's not going to just grab. Yeah, exactly.
Nondescript.
Yeah.
I think that line where she is wondering why, they're being attacked, and what Goodwin says is, well, maybe they're not attacking us. I think that's an important line because it leaves you thinking like, okay, well, what are they up to?
Yeah.
Is he he's hinting that there's something else going on. It's not just an attack to, attack. So I think that's an important line.
Yeah. I agree.
So when he says that they took the strongest, Anna says, well, they didn't take him. And Goodwin replies, well, they changed their plan after 2 of them got killed. He wants to take a break, and Anna agrees, and they sit down. He asks for the knife to cut a piece of fruit up, and Anna wonders how the others got an army knife when they don't even have shoes. And Goodwin doesn't realize that it's an army knife, so Anna shows him the insignia and says that knife is at least 20 years old, and you don't see those anymore. She asks him, how did he find Bernard in the tree? And he replies that he heard him shouting from the beach. And Anna asks if someone saw him out there, is that why he pretended to be one of them? And she says that he ran out. Yeah, so she
kind of figures out that he was just in the area during the plane crash. And I guess she thinks maybe since Bernard saw him, he had to pretend.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And she says he ran out of the jungle less than 10 minutes after the crash, and he wasn't even wet, and that he was never in the ocean. Well, Mr. Echo had that perfectly clean shirt.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah. She then asks where the others are, and she asks if he killed Nathan, and Goodwin replies, Nathan wasn't a good person, and that's why he wasn't on the list.
Yeah, that's creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Anna asks if he killed the kids, and he replies that the children are fine and that they're better off now. So obviously he is one of the others. Anna attacks him, and they fight for a bit, roll down the hill. Goodwin goes to jump and attack her, and she holds up a spear, and he impales himself in the chest, killing him.
It's an awesome scene.
See, imagine now if he had jumped and she had that hockey stick, and he hit that.
Just like bounce off of it.
He just like bounced off of it, and he'd be like, "What the fuck is this?"
No.
She's like, I thought maybe we'd find a pig.
She walks back to the other Backenders and tells them that they are safe here now when they ask where Goodwin is.
Whew. That's an intense scene, isn't it?
So Goodwin had a bad loss.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So the originals, while this is going on, are start to construct the raft. And Charlie punches Sawyer over Claire's diary. Locke and Michael rescue Walt from a terrible CGI polar bear. And Claire returns to camp.
So
Claire.
I was listening to that other Lost podcast.
We can mention it because they're actually going to be on with us in a few weeks. If you guys follow the pre-shows on YouTube, which you should be doing, you will have already met these guys. But we met a couple of Irish lads who podcast under the name Lost the Plot. And they very coincidentally came out with their podcast at almost the identical same time as we did. And they also released it on Wednesdays. And we met on Reddit. So what is this, episode 7? They will be with us here for episode 12 of season 2. Yeah. So go ahead, Christy. You're talking about them.
When you said it was like the bad CGI polar bear.
Right.
They had pointed out that in the original ad for that episode, they used a stuffed polar bear.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yeah. And apparently so many people called out how bad it was that they replaced the stuffed animal polar bear
with the awful CGI one.
Yeah, with the awful CGI one.
Funny.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Wow. So anyways, I know they listen to the pod, so hey there, Ado and Dave. And for everybody else, you'll meet them in a few weeks. So where the fuck were we?
Yes, looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I want to go back to day. Where were we? Day 27. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Day 27.
Why do you guys think Anna did not tell everyone that that Goodwin was one of them, and that she killed him?
Well, I think it's implied. I think she assumes they figure it out if she comes back without him, that he's dead and she had to kill him. And I think the reason that she wouldn't go into the details is because it's fucking embarrassing that she was like about to torture the wrong guy.
Yeah.
So, you know, she doesn't want to talk about like, oops, I had it wrong.
Yeah.
So let's just not speak of this and continue on.
She done fucked up.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Not the first time.
Yeah. Nope. Well, we'll dive more into her story next week.
So we fast forward to day 41, and Bernard is still trying to get a signal from the radio, and that's when he hears Boone asking if anyone is out there.
Anybody got
You hear him say, "We are the survivors of Oceanic Flight 815," but Bernard replies with, "We are the survivors of Oceanic Flight 815."
It's not a prick-waving contest, Bernard.
So I remember when we recorded the episode that this originally happens in, which is, I think, Do No Harm. And I remember, Derek, you had the transcript and that it said we, and I was surprised by that because I didn't remember. And it was so funny when we got back to this episode. And I was like, oh my God, how many times have I watched this show? But for some reason, that was like not in my head. Like I didn't remember this part. And I was surprised that that's what they had said. It's so stupid. It's just funny, like how many times I can watch a show and still manage to forget like important details when watching it again.
Especially if you're smoking weed when you watch it every time.
Exactly.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, that's probably what was happening. Go ahead, Derek. Finish day 41.
So Anna turns off the radio saying it is the others and that they're trying to draw them out, and says there are no other survivors and that this will be their life from now on, and get used to it.
Yeah, and she was wrong. Obviously, it was other survivors, but I think in that moment, she did the right thing because it did.
I agree.
Yeah. Right. I think that could have been them, and that is something the others would do. Yeah. Right.
If you know that these people are tracking you and they're trying to do that, all of a sudden, the person that they've infiltrated your group with is dead, then they're immediately going to switch tactics and try to find you another way. Yep. So I think she's dead on tactically doing what she did.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that she did the right thing. However, she's so militant when she's this is our life. Get used to it. Everything sucks, and I'm going to fucking tell you what to do, and you're going to fucking do it.
Put your hands in the air. Put your hands in the air.
I was just going to say, it's so funny because we will get more into that and why she behaves that way next week. For sure. So while all of this is going on, obviously...
almost done with 41. The important thing coming up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Anna is sitting by the creek crying when Mr. Echo walks up and says, she asks, what is he looking at? And he finally speaks, telling her that it's going to be okay. And she says, you waited 40 days to talk. And he replies with, you waited 40 days to cry. And he wraps his arms around her as she sobs more.
Yeah, that's an intense scene.
Yeah.
It is. I understand why it took her so long to cry. Mm-hmm. I'm the kind of person that when there's a serious situation going on, I put my emotions in the back.
Yeah.
And I deal with it, and I try really hard not to get emotional at all. And it could take me weeks. I mean, after 9/11, I didn't cry for many weeks, which is totally different from small personal tragedies, of course. But
sure.
I shut my emotions off. I deal with the task at hand. I get us through it. And then later on, I'll revisit and let those emotions out. So much as I don't want to side with Anna at all, I understand it.
Well, Anna is not the only character that we saw this in. If you remember back early on, one of the earliest episodes, Jack falls off a cliff and Locke reaches down. Locke reaches down to pull him up, remember? And then Jack just loses it. He starts laughing because he's been, he was the one that had to do what you described, put everything aside and try to take care of everyone. And so he snaps into laughter. She snaps into, sobbing. But it's a similar reaction that we see from those characters.
So with Echo, 40 days, is that just a biblical thing?
That's what I was thinking. 40 days.
Yes,
40 days and 40 nights.
I really am not in the mood to earmuff Derek, but yes, it is a nod to a biblical thing, which we will talk more about when we get into Mr. Echo later this season. All right. 41, day 41 for the originals. Jack is trying to save Boone's life. Claire is having her baby. Kate trips in the jungle and breaks all the alcohol bottles. Shannon explains her complicated relationship with Boone to Saeed. And then, of course, Claire gives birth and Boone dies.
Day 45, Cindy and Libby are on the beach fishing, and they see a body wash up on the shore, and it turns out it's Jin, and they pull him out of the jungle, or out of the ocean, not the jungle, and he's tied up and blindfolded. Mr. Echo asks who is he, and where is he from, but Jin only speaks Korean. And Mr. Echo tells Anna he doesn't speak English, but she says he is a threat because he has a handcuff on his wrist.
Which is so stupid.
I don't know. I mean, I guess you kind of, from that point of view, I guess I'd be suspicious of that.
Yeah. Especially knowing her in the future.
Right. It's not like it's not like he had a weapon or anything. He had a broken handcuff on him.
I know, but I guess what I would think is somebody had reason to handcuff this guy. So that
was wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. From our point of view, we know that situation, but from hers, I would think, somebody needed to tie this guy down at some point.
Yeah. It's like if you find somebody with their knuckles all bloody. You know, you immediately know. Okay, well, they've been fighting, so they could be more of a threat. It's sort of the same thing. Right. There's been some sort of maybe threat of violence in the past, or violence that led him to being shackled.
Right.
So while they were talking, Jin breaks free and runs to the beach, where he sees Michael and Sawyer in the scene from last season. Jin is screaming others when Mr. Echo knocks all of them out with his tree weapon.
I love that you keep calling it a tree weapon.
That's what it was. He took a tree.
Kind of like he's carrying around a tree.
Yeah.
That log had a child.
With his leaves on his clothes.
In his armpits or whatever.
Yeah. The originals are put in the fishing net and dragged to the pit of despair and dropped in. Anna asks Mr. Echo to hit her because she wants to look beaten to be dropped into the pit to investigate the originals. Then you just hear these drums start beating, and we see flashes of the scenes we've already watched of Anna in the pit talking to the originals and then stealing their gun.
Yeah, so for the originals, we jump into season 2, obviously. Some of them have just come into contact with the Backenders, but on the island, at the originals camp, Locke and Kate are getting into the hatch, and they meet Desmond. We find out the numbers need to be entered into the computer, and Jack meets and recognizes Desmond. Then out on the raft, Michael and Sawyer are fighting about Walt being taken, and then, of course, find Jin on the beach and join the scene that Derek just described.
Then we go to day 46. Drums are still beating. We see flashes of the originals getting out of the pit and meeting the Backenders in the Dharma location.
Yeah, I like how they did this. How, like, once we catch up to the spots that, we literally just watched in the last few episodes, and they, put the drum beat on, flash through them, and they're just like, what's happening is that drum is, like, beating toward Shannon's death, right? So, day 46 for the originals is the day that Hurley is assigned to deal with the pantry, loses his mind, decides he's going to blow it up, changes his mind, and throws a big, fat party.
Beach party!
Day 47, the drums are still beating, scenes are still flashing, and the Backenders and the originals journey towards the originals camp. Sawyer collapses, and Cindy disappears.
And back at the original
you lost your ability to recognize faces.
So back at the original camp, Sun loses and finds her wedding ring.
Day 48, which is now, the Backenders are asking where is Cindy when they hear whispering in the jungle. Anna draws her gun and is pointing it around wildly and shoots someone in the jungle. And then you see a shot of every character's face in shock. Then it cuts to Saeed over Shannon's body, staring at Anna with
shoot someone in the jungle. I just imagine, where's your jungle?
Yeah.
I guess after 40-something days, pretty much everywhere is your jungle.
Yeah, just start shooting, Then it cuts to Saeed over Shannon's body, staring at Anna with an enraged look on his face. And that is the end of the episode.
Yeah, and obviously for the originals, day 48, Saeed builds the love shack, tells Shannon he loves her, and then she takes one in the gut. Or in the jungle.
Yeah.
Takes one in the jungle. All right, guys. Did everybody like that episode?
Yes.
Yeah.
I liked all of it up. I liked all of it up until they did the montage at the end. I was just like, okay, we know.
Really, I love
the drums beating. You didn't
I liked that part.
I hated built the tension up.
It didn't for me. It completely relieved all the tension in the show when it got there. I'm not sure why.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. You're wrong, but that's okay. Alrighty. Who wants to hear some fun facts about espionage?
Oh, I do.
I do.
Yeah. Yay, baby.
So I chose this topic because we now know that both camps had been infiltrated by Ethan and Goodwin.
Spies.
Yes. So espionage is the act of obtaining secret or confidential information from non-disclosed sources, or on the flip side, being the one to divulge that kind of information without permission. The oldest known classified document was a report made by a spy disguised as a diplomatic envoy in the court of King Hammurabi, who died in 1750 BC. So humans and civilization have been spying on each other since the beginning. There is actually a story in the Old Testament of the Bible called the 12 Spies, and it's about the leaders of 12 tribes who Moses dispatched to take stock of the Canaan land to see if it was their Jewish promised land. It's, of course, a story. It's about when the Jews wandered for 40 years in the desert, but there's no actual evidence any of that ever happened. So,
burning bush.
Yeah, that burning bush was earlier. That was what convinced Moses. But so moving ahead in time slightly, Western espionage, I guess, changed during the Renaissance. And that was when Italian city-states started installing what were called resident ambassadors. And they were basically people who were put there to sort of live amongst the people and report back to the government with intelligence, I guess, to probably squash any sort of resistance or anything.
Snitches.
Right. So since the end of World War II, that is when espionage became a bigger issue for everyone because of the Cold War and the USSR, things like the KGB. They did a lot of spying. And during that era is when the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, was invented, basically, in 1947. And it was to counteract the USSR. And now, of course, we know the CIA has their hands in everything globally. A couple really famous spies, of course, if you are an American, you have heard of Benedict Arnold, which has become sort of a layman's term for a traitor. And he spied for the English during the Revolutionary War. And George Washington was actually very, he held espionage in favor and had lots of people in the Revolutionary time spying on England. And one other very famous spy was during World War I. Her name was Mata Hari, and she obtained information for Germany by basically sleeping with French officers. Why do the French keep coming up in this episode? So weird. I have a quick list of some ways that people can spy. So there is the agent provocateur, which is somebody who is put into another, political situation to basically instigate trouble and, further the agenda of something, maybe like the CIA. An intelligence agent is somebody who steals information and passes it on. An agent of influence is somebody that it's similar to the agent provocateur, except for instead of instigating trouble, what they try to do is influence a political agenda. So there is, of course, the double agent. That's something all you have to do is watch a spy movie to come up with that one. And obviously, it's somebody who pretends to work for one agency, but is actually working for another. You can also have triple agents who work for 3 agencies.
That's so much to keep track of.
I can't even imagine what you would have to manage doing.
I feel like you almost have to be a sociopath to do that.
Yeah.
You might.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you'd have to be willing to lose your real personality, and you're just constantly pretending. Yeah. Let's give a little shout out to J.J. Abrams, of course, behind Lost, and also behind Alias, which is a great fucking spy show. last one I've got here, the sleeper agent, which is somebody who is recruited to wake up and perform a specific set of tasks or functions while living undercover in an area of interest. Now, of course, Sirhan, who we have in prison in California, still to this day claims that he was a sleeper agent who was awoken to murder RFK. And whether or not you believe that, there's a lot out there about whether or not that's actually possible. But that is the sleeper agent. And so that's what I have on espionage.
Cool.
Yes. Let's see. What would we consider for Ethan? I don't know how we would consider him. He actually up and kidnapped somebody. But for Goodwin, it sounds more like he was an intelligence agent, right? Because he was sending back the lists names and right and well,
I think you can be multiple things. I mean, if you take people like influence agents and provocateurs are often doing the same thing. I mean, just look at someone like if we're talking about today, look at someone like Steve Bannon, right? Not really a spy necessarily, but he's definitely a provocateur. He's an influence peddler. Like, if you consider those motherfuckers to be the enemy, like he is an agent in that regard.
I think when it comes to like those the actual specific terms, we are talking more about somebody who is working on behalf of a government, and so
like
I
James
understand.
Bond.
Yeah, I understand he was working on behalf of the government, under Trump, but it wasn't a secret what that he wants to destroy the country. He's said that many times, but
he wasn't working for the government. He was working for Trump. There's a difference.
Well, right. Wow. Let's not devolve into that. So how about we start with some best moments, Christy, or best and worst moments. Sorry.
It was hard to find best moments for me in this.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to have to go with Bernard being alive. And then when he asked Echo about the bodies that he pulled from the water, when he realized that Rose was not among the bodies, that moment was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Worst moment is Anna killing Shannon.
Oh, see, still on my top
Going back
list,
to that, the African American in the water thing, I also thought about it. It would be kind of funny. He's like, no, I didn't find any African American women in the water, but there's a dead Canadian.
What the fuck are you talking about? Jesus. Ben, how about your best and worst?
Canadians are Americans.
That's true.
What?
That is true.
Yeah. They're North Americans.
North America,
right? Of course. Sorry, I thought. I don't know what I thought you meant by that.
A boot.
A boot, yeah.
I had like two favorites. One was just Goodwin getting impaled on the spear. That's just good.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a good one.
The other one.
Good win.
Nice. The other one was when Ana Lucia breaks down and Echo, like a big teddy bear, just holds her. Well, that was a very sweet scene.
We have the exact same best moments.
Wow.
Stake through the chest, and when Anna, or best and worst, when Anna breaks down is my worst moment. Yeah.
Echo becomes a big old cuddle bear.
Yeah.
And then the worst
I would
moment,
cuddle the hell out of him. I would snuggle with that man.
Oh, were those both your best moments? Sorry, my worst moment was when she broke down. It got me too.
My worst moment was the montage.
Whatever. Derek, best and worst?
Mine are the same as yours. The best moment is when Anna calls out Goodwin and impales him. And the worst is, whenever she's sobbing by the creek.
All right. How about your character power rankings, Derek? You want to give us those? Who you
my best is Mr. Echo. Second is Bernard. And third, and I know Christy won't like this, is Ana Lucia.
You're allowed to like her if you want to.
My worst is Goodwin. Then Nathan was my second worst because he was just, I don't know, creepy. I just didn't like him.
Sketchy looking.
The shifty eyes.
Yeah.
And my third worst is the others. And then I'd fuck Ana Lucia and I'd kill Goodwin with a spear.
Oh, also with the spear. All right.
Yeah.
Benjamin.
Not the hockey stick.
It's actually really, really similar to Derek. Mr. Echo in first, Ana Lucia in second, Bernard in third. And then for the worst, Goodwin, then the others. And then third worst, I'm going to do, I'm Cindy, just because her
why don't
ability
you
to
like Cindy?
She bugs me. I don't know. There's something about her that just bugs me. And then I'm good with faces. I'm just like, oh, God, shut up. Then I'm going to fuck Ana Lucia. And since it seems like Cindy's already sort of gone that way, the way of the dodo, I'm going to kill her.
All right.
Wow.
We had the same top three, Ben. Mr. Echo is obviously, he's the best. I had Ana Lucia in second. She did her best, I feel like. And Bernard in third. He's kind of like the steady Jack of the Backenders,
Yep,
I feel like.
Totally.
But then for my worst characters, I had Goodwin for obvious reasons. But then I also put Ana Lucia second for worst characters because she jumps the gun more than once. She misinterprets who the bad guy is, and then, swinging her gun around, accidentally shoots Shannon.
In the jungle.
Yeah, so I know the points will be a wash, but that's kind of how I felt about her. It's like she's trying, but she's kind of a fuck up at the same time.
Yeah.
And then I had Libby as my third worst because she kept egging Anna on. Every time that Anna made a wrong judgment, Libby was there to be like, oh yeah, he is creepy. Oh yeah, and she just kept kind of egging her on in the wrong direction.
Sort of a provocateur, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I decided to fuck Cindy because I feel bad for her. She got kidnapped.
So we're on to pity fucking already. We're only 7 episodes into the season and we're pity fucking.
So I was going to give her a little pity fuck before she got kidnapped by the others. And then I could not think of anyone that I really wanted to kill.
Oh, we know what that means.
It's Randy. It's Randy Douchebag Nation.
Randy.
He's on my kill list again. He's my trusty. And so that's where I landed.
He's your
Christy,
bullet
how about
catcher.
You? Yeah.
My top three are Echo, Libby, and Bernard. My bottom three are Anna, Goodwin, and the others.
Anna above Goodwin?
You have Anna above Goodwin? Wow.
It's like a fucking vendetta.
She was going to cut off Nathan's fucking finger.
He's an extra. Fuck him.
Yeah.
I know, but like you said, Anna,
he got his neck snapped.
Anna jumped the gun on so many things, and especially with the whole shooting Shannon in the jungle. Mm-hmm. You don't point a gun at someone unless you intend to shoot them. Yeah. You don't shoot someone unless you know who the fuck you're shooting.
Again, I put a pin in it. We'll discuss this more next week.
But I grew up in a house with guns, and my dad hunted, and he had a handgun, and I grew up with a strong respect for guns. And then when my husband and I went and bought our own guns, you do gun safety courses, and you don't pull the trigger unless you know what it is that you're shooting. Yep. So I've got a real problem with her.
She has poor gun safety.
Why was Libby your second best?
Because she's just sweet.
Yeah.
She is. She is sweet.
And for that reason, I'm also going to fuck her. And I'm going to kill Anna. Shocker.
Yeah.
Wow, the hatred.
That's 4 episodes in a row where Christy has killed Ana Lucia.
Wow.
Is it really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next week, Christy's going to be happy because I have a feeling we'll all have a few nasty things to say about Ana Lucia.
She's getting worn out. She's getting killed and fucked a lot.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So where are we now? Ben, could you please update us on where we ended after this week with our power rankings?
After this week, we've got the strong silent one, Mr. Echo, just soaring into the lead. He's 25 points clear of anyone else right now.
Wow.
Yeah. We all seem to love him. Second place is still Kate, even though we haven't really seen her in a while. And third place has not changed. Hurley and Helen are still there.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is kind of wild. Okay. So what's happening in the bottom?
Not really a whole lot there either. Randy Douchebag Nations continues to be in the worst. He gained another 3 points
down there.
Yeah. And now that means Mr. Cooper is in second place, and third place is Susan.
All right.
And then we've got a 4-way tie for fourth
like fourth
place.
Worst? Oh,
yeah, which would be Mr. Kim, Sabrina Carlisle, and Goodwin.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Why don't you just continue on there, Benjamin? Give us your final impressions from this week.
Final impressions. Let's see. I mean, it was cool to catch up and kind of figure out, like, to see everything from their perspective that had happened. I like the introduction of.
I heard that.
Derek started it, and then I yawned.
Yeah,
That was amazing. All right, sorry, Ben. Go ahead.
I like the inclusion of Goodwin because it sort of brings home with what's his name,
Ethan.
It kind of shows that these people are very methodical, and that that somebody's crashed and they've immediately got like moles. So it sort of shows that they're organized, they're kind of, methodical, which is terrifying. If somebody's been there a lot longer than you and they're really, really good at what they do, you're at a distinct disadvantage. So I like that. It kind of plays up the peril a little bit more. I love Mr. Echo in the episode. Like, he's gentle when he has to be, and he's a stone cold killer when he has to be. And then, I mean, other than, digging a hole to the center of the earth in a couple of days and a couple other small plot holes, I thought it was a really fun and strong episode.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the ending.
Yeah.
Christy.
Yeah, it was a good episode. It was nice to be able to get, what happened with this group over the course of 48 days. And it was nice that they kind of just threw it all into one episode instead of drawing it out. I agree with a lot of what Ben said. Echo's characters is just incredible. And I can't wait to learn more about his backstory.
About whose backstory?
Echo.
Oh, Echo. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I thought this was a brilliant fucking episode. What a great idea to catch us up and, give us another perspective of, like, there was this whole other adventure happening on the other side of the island. I think, like you mentioned, Ben, the introduction of Goodwin and the fact that we now know that both camps were infiltrated, it really does imply there is some sort of organization amongst these people.
Yeah.
And clearly they've got motivations. They wanted Walt for some reason. They've got a list of other people for some reason. It feels more targeted than random. And, I'm left wondering, like, okay, why those 9 people, or why did they want Claire? Why did they want Walt? Like, what is the deal?
Yeah. It makes it more scary in one way, but then it also imbues you with a little bit of hope that maybe, like he said, maybe they're not attacking us.
Right. It also leaves that mystery of, like, well, what did he mean? Maybe they're not attacking. Like, what the fuck are they up to?
Yeah. Are we fighting the wrong people? Like, are we scared of them for the wrong reasons? Yeah. Yeah.
So those are questions that are definitely explored as we go through this series. So, Derek, why don't you tell us, what did you think of this? It's sort of special episode, kind of left the format. And then what questions were you left with?
Yeah, I really liked this episode. I thought it was really, really good, and how it tells the story of the Backenders and what they endured for the first 48 days that they were on the island. We learned that the others kidnapped 12 of them, but don't know what they did with them or even if they're alive. And we learned that, Goodwin infiltrated the camp just like Ethan did, the original
camp. I guess
it's
like 13 now, right? If we count Cindy.
Oh, that's true.
That's true. They took her at the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like 12 and a half. She's
Forgot about Cindy.
Person.
Ben killed her, so.
Yeah, that's true.
So my questions are, who are the others? What are they doing there, or how they get there, and what do they want with all of the survivors?
Okay, so you ended with the same questions, I guess, as we would all have. Yeah. So,
no, my question was still, how did Ana Lucia dig that fucking hole so fast? These are things that keep me up at night. Like,
okay. All right, Derek, those questions that you have will slowly be answered over the course of this series. As far as for Ana Lucia and her hole digging skills, join us next week It is episode 8 of season 2. It's called Collision. It is Ana Lucia's story, and I am going to give it to you. And we will see you then.
I almost think it might be kind of fun to have Christy do that episode. Just hear the hate seething out of her.
No. Yeah. You like a hate episode.
Oh, just wait until we get to, what are their names?
Which one you're talking about already?
Lacy.
Nikki and Paolo.
Yeah, just wait until we get to Nikki and Paolo.
She took Nikki and Paolo.
You hate them worse than Ana Lucia?
Oh, Eric. You'll hate them too.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not till next season.
Yes, that's right. It is season 3. I thought that I ended this episode, but somehow we're still talking. So let me try one more time. Next week, it is episode 8, Collision with Ana Lucia and me, and Christy can heckle me the entire time. We will see you then. Goodbye.
Bye.
And you know what really grinds my gears?
Oh my God. Lost in My 40s is a Space Bear Media production. Executive produced and edited by me, Lacy J. Sound engineering, editing, and original music by Benjamin Trimp. Like and follow Lost in My 40s on Facebook to interact with your hosts. Plus, follow Space Bear Media on YouTube to watch our episode pre-shows. You can also find us at SpaceBear_media on Instagram and Twitter. Or come to our website, spacebearmedia.com.